Hello, Dave here with emergencyprepguy.com. I appreciate you stopping by. Today is my least favorite day anytime I raise anything for meat, but you got to do it. It's part of the job. But anyway, you can see I've got the rabbits behind me. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be processing them. I'm going to spin the camera around really quick, and I'm going to take you around, just kind of show you my setup. And I'll show you the rabbits real quick, and then we'll talk some more. Okay, let's start with the rabbits. Now, these little guys are thinking that I forgot about them because I fed them yesterday morning, and I checked on them. They still had a little bit of food last night, but I didn't give them any more, so they emptied it, probably around 9 or so at night, and so all night they haven't had any food. That just makes it a little easier when their bowels aren't full when you're going through to process them, or at least I prefer doing it that way. So let's take a little gander at these fellas. Hi guys, how are you doing? Anyway, again, I try not to get too attached to the babies. This little gal here, I'm going to be putting her in with the buck probably later today. She's old enough now. This is my little gal I'm giving a break. That's her mama. And here's my little buck. Hey buddy, how are you? Okay, let's look at my setup. So I have this little kind of hunter's table, I call it. It's actually a table you can cut on. I like it. It's got I never really use the drain. You can actually hook a hose up to it and have a faucet. I never use that. I just always have the hose with a sprayer on that. It's easier. I have my poultry shears, which I really love. I use those as much as I can. I just sharpen my knife, so hopefully that'll be good. And some rubber gloves. I tend to go through a few pair. Those are... If you ever buy this brand of gloves or see this brand of gloves, don't buy them. Those things are very cheap. They break really easy. But anyway, then you just want to have a tote that you can fill with water. I've tried it both, filling it with ice and without. This is a quick enough process. It doesn't seem to matter. The main purpose of the water is to keep flies off the meat and to allow the meat to cool down. And anyway, it's a cool day today. That'll be totally fine. When it's super hot day, I usually get a couple of bags of ice to throw in it. I am putting a tarp down just so I don't ruin the grass. Hopefully that'll help. Last time I kind of wore a spot on the grass. You can see up here, well, first here, I've got one bucket. I normally have 2 buckets, but all my buckets I'm using for something at the moment, so I only have one, so hopefully I can make do with one. And then up here, you can see I have 4 nooses, for lack of a better word. That sounds terrible, but so I can hang 2 rabbits up once they're dead by their back feet and process them together. It makes it go a little bit quicker. Okay, now you can see I went and got, this is the grow out pen, or it's not really a grow out pen, it's more of a introduction pen when I have smaller chickens to introduce into the flock. But it also works great to keep the bunnies in, the rabbits, when I'm getting ready to process them. You can see I have a solid door there. I don't really want them to see what's going on the other side of that, so it kind of keeps them calm in here. And then I always, whenever I'm processing, I roll the plastic down so that the other rabbits can't see what's going on over here. And I try to do it really quick and painless, so that the last thing I want is these bunnies to feel anything. And so I've tried the way Joel Salatin, I forget what his son's name is, but the way he does it, where he smacks him on the head, and the way he does it, it looks like it's really simple, really quick, and they look completely dead when he does it. He must have a trick to it. I tried it, and I won't ever try it again. I don't want to have the rabbits suffer while I'm trying to learn how to do it effectively, because it didn't kill them the first whack, and I tried it a few times. I still didn't get the knack of it, and so I prefer this other method. The reason the Salitons like their method is because then you're not breaking the neck and bruising a little bit of the meat around the neck. I'd rather deal with, I don't twist the rabbits like some people do when they break the neck. I just pull them. And so I have some bruising, but not like if you twisted the rabbit when you pulled it. So anyway, that's how I do it. So there you have it. None of the rabbits are any the wiser. Okay, this is what I use to dispatch the rabbit. This is just like a round dowel or round piece of wood like you can buy at any hardware store. You can also buy or get like a broom handle and screw the broom off the end of it when you're using it. I just happen to like this because it's a little smaller than the typical wooden broom handle, and I don't know, it just seemed a little bit easier to work with as I'm dealing with the rabbits. Now, as you can see, the rabbits are right here. I like to dispatch them right here as close to this as I can. I try to keep them calm, but that way, where they're low right there, they got the tree in the way and the wood there, I know these guys aren't going to see it, so that's how I do it. We get some gloves on and we'll get started. Okay, so main thing I like to do is just, I'm not holding them very good, but keep them calm. Come here, little guy. Come on, you're okay, you're okay. You're okay. Then I just pet them. Come on, you're okay. You're okay. Just calm down, you're all right. You're all right. You're all right. I'm gonna take the stick and I put it like this. And I get them to calm down as much as I can. I'm taking longer than it normally goes faster than this. But anyway, basically what you do is you get the rabbit like that, you step on either side, grab them by the back legs, and you lift straight up. Again, I don't twist, I just lift straight up, and that you can hear the neck pop. That pops their neck, and then it's painless. They're dead instantly, and so that's the way that I like to do it. It does bruise a little bit of the neck meat, but I'd rather deal with that than trying to do it another way. Once you dispatch the rabbit, there will be a little bit of them kicking. That's just nerves. His neck is broken. He's completely dead. I waited a little bit longer than I normally do to process them because the standard Rexes were getting to size. This is, I think, my biggest one. He's over 6 pounds. Now that they're both dead, I like to bleed them out. Just let them bleed like that. Okay, on this second rabbit, I'm going to show you how I like to butcher them. So, again, the sharper the knife, the better. I've already, when I first cut them to bleed them out, I cut the heads off of both of them. I like to do that first. Some people leave the head on and do that at the end, but anyway, I did that. And then what you want to do is you want to come down here ways like this. And the other thing I should mention is that you get less hair on your rabbit if you spray them down. I've already sprayed them down, but I like to just give the fur a good soaking. Okay, so what I like to do first is to just come down here and puncture the skin without going through the abdomen. The sharper your knife, the point of your knife is, the easier this is to do. But you just stick it in like that, and then what I do is, it's a lot easier to cut through the skin than it is through the fur. So if you poke a hole and then you're cutting up through the skin, keeping the fur off of your knife, it just goes a lot easier. So then you can just literally go up the leg like that. And then I'll go up the other side. Let's see, where did it? I'd cut this different if I was saving the fur, but I'm not. So then I just go up here, up the leg, and I just trim that. So I cut a little end of the meat on accident. Okay. Then what you want to do, I like to just peel the skin away from the body, and just work my way all the way around both sides until they meet, like this. So now I got them all the way around. That. So now I've got so you can see my fingers through there. So now what you do here, you pull the tail down as far as you can. You pull the skin up as close as you can to the tail. Pull the tail down, and then cut through the tail and the junk like that. Then what you do is you come over here and you want to cut through the sex organs and stuff over here, and just cut that off. Now when I'm doing 2 rabbits at a time, I already did this other one first, but normally what I do, you get in a roll. You cut up one rabbit, cut up the other rabbit, you cut around the legs, or go around through the back, and then do that on the other rabbits. You just go back and forth, and it makes, you can do 2 rabbits almost as fast as you can do 1 when you do that. Now you just grab the skin like this. And you literally just pull it right off the rabbit. Like that. And then always hose things to keep it clean. And it makes it a little less gory. So basically what you do here is you cut but you be careful not to hit any of the innards in there as you're cutting up. Now, if you go on YouTube and you watch Joel Salatin's son, I think both he and his son probably have videos showing this. I forget his son's name, but anyway, what they do is they basically just, they cut up here, and then they kind of reach in here and they cut a little bit around the intestine of the rabbit. And then since they've already, when they cut the tail off, since they've already cut the top of the anus off, then what they do is they just pull the intestine, they grab this intestine and they just pull it down through, and it comes out just as clean as anything without spilling any poop anywhere. The top of the anus and everything or what's left after they cut it off just comes down through. When I've had rabbits before, the breed of rabbit that I had then, I was able to do it that way. But this particular, I think it's the breed of rabbit is the only thing, because none of these rabbits, whenever I process them, I've tried that a bunch of times, and I'm not able to get that to pull through. It breaks the intestine, and then I spill. If you ever spill any poop, it's okay, just hose it off. It's not a big deal. But I have a super quick way to get it out that I like better, since mine won't. That other way is pretty easy, but since it doesn't work with my rabbits, and that is basically I cut the pelvic bone with the poultry shears. I just cut around the intestine, and then I can just pull it out. So I just go up here like this. I just make sure that I'm not damaging the actual intestine, and I just go like that. And then same thing on the other side. So hopefully, if you can see, I just stuck the scissors up, the intestines right there. I just stuck it up there and clipped it. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, if I can get it in there. Hang on a minute. There we go. So now I'm going to just stick this up there on that side of it, and then it just all comes out nice and easy like that, and I don't spill anything. Again, if you do spill some, it's no big deal. Just hose it off. So you can see how clean that is that way, doing it. And then I like to stick my hand down here like this and just cut along there, with being really careful not to cut into any of the bowels. And we're running, that's about as far as it looks like I can go. Okay, so right here is your bladder. You can see there's some urine in that bladder. So you just go up as high as you can, pinch it off, and then cut it off. Sometimes the bladder will be really full, and that's difficult. That's just so you don't get urine anywhere. Okay, now here's the kidneys. There's 2 of them. Obviously you don't save those. Guess you could if you wanted, but pull those out. Then as you pull these out, then what comes out is the liver. And I like to save the liver and the heart. Some people don't, but I'm doing this for food storage purposes, so I feel guilty wasting it. Anyway, come on, liver. There we go. So there we go. Oop. There's the stubborn piece I was trying to grab. Anyway, so now I got the whole liver off. With the liver, their bile sac isn't near as fragile as like a chicken liver. So all you do, you don't want to spill it on the meat, but like I said, it's not as fragile. You just grab the little top. There's a little tube at the top of the sac. You grab the tube, pinch it off. And we pinch it off and the bag comes off. I've never spilled that. So you just pinch that off, pull it off, and like I said, you won't spill it. I've never spilled it yet on the liver, but then I throw that in the water. And then let's, now I've got the esophagus here. I'm just gonna pull that out, let it all fall in. Now I've got the diaphragm. And what I like to do is just kind of pull out the diaphragm with the lungs and heart and everything if I can. Diaphragm is just a thin layer that separates the stomach area from where the lungs and heart are. And it's not something you eat, so I try to pull it out. Okay, and then I reach down, I grab the heart and the lungs and hopefully get as much of the esophagus as possible. Now when you pull that out, if you want to save the heart, there's the heart. It's in a little bag there, and sometimes the bag rips when you're pulling it out. Doesn't look like it did that time. Oh yeah, it did. There's no bag. Okay, so there's the heart. So let's see. You can see where it bruised the neck a little bit there. That's a little more bruising than I normally get. So all right, so the rest of this, I find it's easier to just cut the rabbit into the parts that you want right here while it's hanging, as opposed to taking it down and moving it over onto a table and doing it. It just seems to save time. It's super quick and easy. So the first thing I do is I cut off the legs. There's no bone really, just tendons that attach the front legs. So what I try to do is just go here. I use the shears here, poultry shears, and I just go as close as I can to the rib cage, and I just cut the meat that separates it all, trying not to get any of the bruised neck meat on it. Got a little bit of the bruise on there. We'll cut that off, maybe. Okay, so there is your front leg. Throw that in the water. Do the other side. Again, just cut through the flesh. Again, I try to go as close to the rib cage as I can, except for where there's bruising. And just clip it off so you're not wasting any meat you don't want to waste. Quite a bit of bruising on this rabbit's neck this time. Okay, and then you've got the other leg. Okay, so the next thing that I do, this meat here, this belly, is like on a pig. That's where they get bacon from. Obviously this isn't as thick as on a pig, but I like to save it. It makes really good jerky. So what I do, I just take the pruning shears and I just cut right along the edge of the back meat there, and then along the edge of the rib cage. I mean the end of the ribs. And a lot of people make jerky with that. I've done it. It's really tasty. Then we do the next one, same thing. There's another piece. Okay, now the best meat on a rabbit is this back, this side, the back, and this side of the back. This is actually the best right in here. And you can see it goes clear down into here. We're going to cut it off about where it starts to bruise. That's the only downside with dispatching the rabbits this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right along the meat, so I'm not wasting any of the meat there. And I'm just going to cut through the ribs right along the meat. When I get about down to the bruised area, then I'm going to cut across the spine, and then same thing on the other side, right up along the meat. Like that. And then this just goes in the gut thing. So then I cut right here, separating the bigger back piece from the smaller back piece. So there's the small back. And then to get to this upper back piece, basically you're separating it from the legs. So to show you this back side, here, this meat here goes on the shoulder and the leg. This is the back. So what I like to do is just kind of like cut right up there. Like that, and then I cut that leg off, and then the same thing on the other side. I just try to get leave all of the shoulder meat on the with the leg. Sometimes that can be a little bit to pull. And then you're left with this, you know, because I've got most of the meat on the shoulder, I just cut that part off there, right at the top of the back. You can see how the poultry shears just really make it easier. So there's the upper back. That's the best piece in the rabbit. And then with these legs, the main thing you're trying to do is not get any hair on it if you can, or get rid of all the hair. All right, we need the hose. So I just pull the hair up like that, and with the shears, I just shoot. I keep knocking the hair down. With the shears, I just cut it off, and you've got the leg. That's a really good piece of meat too. The back leg. Same with this one. You got the back leg. Some people save the back rabbit's feet and make charms out of them. I never do. So, and then you just do the next rabbit. Okay, well, I hope that was interesting. I appreciate you watching the video all the way to the end. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next video.